Hey everyone, welcome to Purpose and Plans. I'm so glad to have you here today. On the day I'm filming this video, it is Friday, so I am even more excited about that. If this is your first time being here, definitely welcome to you. I am Breshana Miller, and on this channel, I talk about your purpose, your faith, connecting to your God given identity, and walking in the calling and the vision that God has placed on the inside of you. And I really wanted to just share a little bit about capacity, alignment, and seasons and discerning that and how that can look because even myself, I constantly find myself on this journey of having to stay in a position of discerning and understanding so that I am clear on, what's going on. And one thing that I know is that generally in the area where you are called and where God has gifted you, you'll find yourself getting tested in those areas quite a bit because there's always room for improvement, elevation. Even I, too, as much as I talk about it and teach on those things, I do go through it as well. So, certainly, it's not like I've been there, done that, and I know all the things. I'm also on this journey, and it's a learning journey for us all. So, certainly, I'm not exempt. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about today. But before I do, I wanted to say this like, I'm filming on this new mic, and just so that you are wondering, what is she doing? So, I've been seeing some people on YouTube, they've been using their little mini mics and clipping them on like pens and cards and stuff like that. So I figured, oh, that's so cool. I figured I would just try. So if you're wondering, that's why, that's why I'm doing it. So I decided to pull out little Hello Kitty, my little Hello Kitty gift card that I have. It works out pretty good because these things are truly mini and they're easy to drop. So I figured why not? So that's why I'm doing this. Anyway, and I'm usually not a person that gets behind like trends and fads, but I was like, "Oh, that seems kind of fun." So I just decided to do it. Anyway, so I wanted to just talk to you a little bit about alignment and what that can look like. And also, I am still drinking my coffee. You all know it's February and I love coffee, Starbucks. I love coffee mugs and I have seasonal mugs for I have mugs for all the different seasons, to say that properly. So I'm in my Valentine's Day mug. I have other ones too, but this is one I'm drinking out of because it's really big and I love coffee and I like to drink a lot of it in the morning. So I usually like a big fat mug that'll hold it so I don't have to keep running back and forth to my French press. What I wanted to share with you all today and share with you how I adjust. You may not really know, like, well, what does knowing your season, your capacity, and being able to discern what's going on, like, what does that look like sometimes? So, for example, for me, like this week per se, this week really felt like I won't say it felt, it was. This was a very high functioning week for me, extremely high functioning week for me, and almost to the point where it felt like it was sort of spiraling. There was so much going on. And I think maybe some of that was maybe a little bit self inflicted. I'm not sure. But nevertheless, it was a very high functioning and almost felt kind of like a spiraling week. Now, it didn't start out like that. The weekend was great. Like prior to coming into this week, the weekend was really good. It was busy, but it was really good. And I'm still like, if y'all don't know, I live in the DMV area and we got slammed with a lot of snow and crazy cold temperatures. Colder for that's a little bit unusual for us. So we've been like haven't really seen the grass in my backyard in about 2 weeks. It's just looked like an icy pond outside. I got a chance to get outside and go to Starbucks and hang out and drink coffee and, just be outside, get some fresh air, all of that. So it really started out like a really great week, but it ramped up pretty quickly. And I think part of it was because this week was the first week our kids went back to school on a regular schedule. There were no more school closures, there were no more school delays. It was like we're back to normal and we got to get up. So the week started out with that. We were able to kind of be a little bit slow in the mornings with the school closures and the school delays. But then once things got back to normal schedule, it's like, oh, we got to get back to it. So I think that may have been just the onset of some of the high functioning feelings that I was getting because we were kind of laid back for the past 2 weeks, honestly. And so, but it's fine. It's just that it was a thing. Like when I sit back and think, like, wow, what happened that made this week feel like it was high functioning? I think that was kind of like the start to it. It'll normalize because that's, the schedule is the schedule, but we were coming out of a different schedule, going back to a normal schedule. So I think it was just about getting back to baseline and being able to normalize the things that we were doing versus feeling, doing things that were not so normal, like not waking up as early, not having to deal with the morning rush and stuff like that. So one of the things that I can say that I've learned and thought about, and I'll share that with you as I kind of tell you, like, what my week kind of went like. So like I said, it was very high functioning and it felt like it was spiraling. And I don't know, other than the kids going back to school, what else triggered that. But some of the things that I noticed as I reflected, I took some time to journal. This is my lovely journal that I got from London, choosing keeping. And so I took some time to journal the other day just to kind of sit and process and think and say, like, hey, what's going on here? One of the things that I am learning and sharing is that you can be aligned. You can be aligned in your season and still have days that just don't feel like they are aligned to your season. So, because reality, that's what we're in. So it's not like if you find yourself like finally getting to that point where you said, yes, I feel aligned, I feel like I've accepted and know, you know, I'm standing fully in my identity with gifts, skills, and talents and taking the next steps, all those things that I talk about. But you can still have days where it just doesn't feel quite aligned. You can still have days where things don't feel like they're in sync or parallel to what you have already, the course you're on. You can still have those days. And I think those are the days that I had this week. There were days that just were not in sync, days that did not feel rhythmic because I believe in, kind of rhythms and flowing. And there were some days that were just kind of off cadence, out of rhythm. And I had to work around that. But I think before I actually started working around that, I was starting to my capacity started to get a little higher, and my capacity did expand for what was going on, but then it got to the place where that expansion started to feel like spiraling. And that's when I was like, okay, oh boy. Like, okay, when your high functioning starts to feel like spiraling, stop, pause. But the thing is that can happen even when you're in full alignment with your calling and doing what God has called you to do. You can still have those days. Knowing that capacity does not eliminate unpredictability. Things will still happen, life will still happen. There are things that I had already planned for this week that I just decided this week I'm not doing because I recognize where I was and what I was feeling, what my body was going through. I just was attentive, even though it was very high functioning. I made sure to be as attentive as I could. And so as I was looking at my calendar, I thought, okay, there's some things that I just need to remove off of my plate this week because it's enough. Like things feel like they're spiraling and I need to unspiral. I need to reprogram. I need to, get back to baseline and normalize, not continue to just go on this spiral. And it's not like it was a downward spiral or upward spiral. It was just a lot of things happening at one time, internally, emotionally, mentally, physically in my environment with the kids, my husband. It was just a lot of stuff that was taking place at one time on top of just managing day to day life. So I decided, I'm not going to just cave and collapse. you can have those spiraling days. And having clarity and knowing your season doesn't mean you're going to eliminate unpredictability. And I did not predict that I was going to have to take some things off of my plate. I knew that I had a full plate this week. But as the week was going on, I realized that some things need to change and they need to change this week. So I went ahead and made those adjustments to my calendar. And the thing is, these were really important appointments that I had. I did maintain some of my appointments, but then some I was like, I'm just not going to do. Yes, they are important, but the world's not going to stop. My life is not going to crumble. No one else is going to crumble. The house is not going to fall down if I don't keep this appointment. I can actually reschedule it. So I took some time uh this week and decided that I was going to reschedule a couple of things, and I pushed them back 2 weeks. I was like, I don't even want to do it next week. We're going to push this all the way out to the end of the month because we're just going to allow ourselves to, when I say we, me, I'm going to allow myself to just get back to a baseline, and I'm not going to rush myself to it. I'm going to give myself the space that I need so my capacity can can get recalibrated, because that's not something that I actually want to rush. So if you've ever felt like that, like, it's okay. Even for some things that are important, really think about it. What's the cost? What's the payoff? When it comes to time and energy, not just money, but time and energy, getting up, getting there, getting back, whatever it may be, it's okay to make some adjustments and adapt, even when it's something that you find to be really important. Those important things can be postponed, they can be rescheduled, because you have to be able to, take ownership of your days. And that was something that I believe in doing, and I do that. So I took ownership and said, okay, I'm going to, reschedule some things, move some things around. We have to make those adjustments sometimes. So being in your right season, being clear, understanding your capacity doesn't always mean just go, 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 or the things that you already have scheduled and planned, you just push through. You don't have to push through. You can give yourself the permission, like I did. I gave myself the permission to pause. I gave myself the permission to slow down even more because I knew it's what I needed. Just because things seem to go awry or seem to get out of step with the rhythms or the routines that you have doesn't always mean you have to do a clarity check or season check or like a self assessment. It doesn't always require this massive evaluation or assessment of like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Because you felt like you had it together, you had things right, things were flowing, you have your plan, you're moving, you have things scheduled, you know what you're focused on, you know what you're going to work on later, like you've got it all situated. When those things don't go the way you want them to go, it doesn't mean, oh, did I mishear God, or did I misunderstand my season, or what's going on, or maybe I didn't get it right, maybe I made a mistake. It's not that at all. It's just stuff just happens, right? And it's not about condemning ourselves or feeling like we didn't gauge the temperature right. No, you're still in your season, you're still settled, but you can be in your season, you can be settled, you can be aligned and still feel like things are just spiraling. It does happen. And I think that's truly the kind of week that I had. And I noticed that it doesn't take like major events for something like that to happen. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be the tiniest of things. And just in full transparency, I think for me, some things were like super tiny, but I realized like the energy, the mental energy that I was given to it. I was like, why am I focused on this so much? But we're all different. We're all wired differently. So just to share, it was so simple. You all might be like, Breshana, why were you like stressing? I wasn't stressing, but it was just sometimes I may give my mental energy over to things that maybe don't need it, but it varies. Like if everybody has their thing, right? So I am very much a type A type of person. I never really saw myself as a type A, but I'm like, yeah, I'm a type A. I've come to that conclusion. I've accepted that I'm a type A in my own way. I'm a type A kind of person. And there are things that really just I that get under my skin pretty quickly. Like I am big on having a very clean space. So when and, having kids, so that's always like a battle of trying to maintain cleanliness and not having the kids feel like they're living in some kind of sanitized hospital. It's always like this balance. And I'm not that over the edge about it. But there's things that are important to me. So it's like if I see crumbs, it's like, you gotta clean, get this up. And not that I'm going around screaming at everybody, but it's just the signals that go off in my head when something seems out of place. That kind of mental energy. Another thing was, so I bought this new blow dryer and I really wanted to try it out. So I washed my hair and did all the things and just experimenting. And I had to learn this new product and this new blow dryer. And it for some reason I was just I was just obsessing about it. And I was satisfied with with the results. Like this was the first time I've actually blew my hair out, but I did not flat iron it. I just blew it out in, it's a round blow dryer. So I blew it out. You all like the results? I blew it out and I was like, oh, it's airy, it's poofy. So I was just like walking around feeling like my hair is expanding like a hot air balloon and thinking about, well, should I do this or should I do that? And oh, maybe I should get the heat like the flat iron. I was just thinking about all of these things. And it was just the mental energy of constantly questioning and wondering, and should I readjust, should I fix it, should I correct it, the person in me that wants things just right, even when it came to my hair. And I can't tell you how many times I had to return to the decision of I'm just going to leave it. I can't tell you how many times I had to decide, don't fix it, just leave it. The product, the blow dryer, like it did what it was supposed to do. It's doing what it's supposed to do. Leave it alone. Stop trying to fix it, right? So, trying to come out of that fix it mode, things like that. And then in my office, which is where I'm sitting right now, I wanted to do a bit of something was just off in my workspace and I could not figure it out. And I spent, I'm not going to tell you how many hours, but I spent a couple of hours. When I say couple, I don't mean two, figuratively speaking. I spent a couple of hours fixing, revising, just nitpicking over things in my office. And that was like physical energy. It was mental energy that I was giving over to these things. And it's like, on top of that, it's work, it's the kids, it's my writing, it's the videos, it's the editing, it's my website and a whole bunch of little things. So, and then there were other things I was thinking about that I should get or do or go, just contemplate like, oh, should I go here? Oh, should I get this thing? Should I order this? So many things. On top of that, it is Valentine's week. And, with little kids, they do the Valentine's party. So then there's the little additional, pulls on me. But mommy, I have to go get Valentine's candy. I need the cards. I need the bags. I need this. I need that. Oh, I need money for the field trip. And my other daughter's like, oh, I want to go to the basketball game. I need money for the food truck. Can you do this? And lots of things. So there's that. And then there's, me and business and work. And it was a lot. And so it just felt like things were spiraling. And so what I noticed was that my capacity did expand because I believe that there should always be a buffer. You should always have a buffer. You don't want to plan to be at max capacity. That's not, I don't think that's a good way. At least I don't think it is. But I don't plan for maximum capacity. Do everything that I possibly think that I could do in a week. I've been there. It is not a good way to plan. But I had a buffer and I think I used up every bit of that buffer. And I think there was a day, matter of fact, I think it was by Tuesday, which is crazy to say, but by Tuesday or maybe Wednesday, I can't recall exactly, but I was thinking, okay, I'm exhausted. Like, oh, it was early in the week and I was like, I'm already like super tired because things happened very quickly. I had to expand my capacity or let's say adjust my capacity very early in the week to maintain the things that was going on. And then by Wednesday or Thursday, I was like, something's got to come off the plate. This is enough. And that's when I realized, okay, I need to I need to rebaseline. I need to recalibrate my capacity because it's not good that I function at max capacity. So that's why I wanted to share all of this with you, because it does happen. Even when you are paying attention, it can happen. Things can still spiral, things can still feel out of kilter. And that's okay. And I'll be honest, there were some things that I did not get to spend as much time to do. You all have may have heard me mention that there's a course that I am currently taking. It's a part of one of my goals that I'm working on. And it's been taking me a while, but it requires me to have some serious study time. And I did not really study as much this week. I also have my devotional time that I like to have in the mornings. And I have not always had that particular amount of time to do that in the morning. I didn't get in my devotional notebook the way I planned to. And it's like, you know what? I can't beat myself up for it. So sometimes I had to just resort to looking at the verse of the day on the Bible app, or just getting in that one scripture or something. I wasn't able to actually do it the way I wanted to do it, but I managed to get something in, but it wasn't certainly at the level that I wanted to. And that does happen, and it's okay. We're human beings, and we're going to go through those types of things. And I think it's just a matter of adjusting, adapting, and reorienting yourself. Not about realigning as if I wasn't aligned, but more like just reorienting. Because when things felt like they were starting to spiral, it's like, wait a minute, like I have to hold on, like pause, slow down, let me reorient so that things just don't continue to go like this. I just wanted to share with you all how it can be that even I, who talks a lot about knowing your season and being aligned and understanding your capacity, I'm not about toxic productivity at all. And I fully believe in walking out your vision and your purpose that God placed in your heart. And it is possible. But even in the midst of doing that, it doesn't mean the days or the weeks or the day is going to go smooth. It doesn't mean everything's going to just be a bed of roses. It doesn't mean that. And I think that part of walking that walk with confidence and being able to continue to stay on the path that God has for you is knowing that it doesn't mean it's going to be a day. Every day is not going to feel like a crystal clear day. There are going to be some days where you might feel like, what in the world is going on with me? What am I doing? What's going on? Why am I feeling this way? You're going to have those kind of days. And I think it's just okay to have those kind of days. And sometimes that's our bodies telling us something. And sometimes that's God's way of trying to get our attention. So I don't think there's anything wrong with those days. It's not that we want to welcome them, but when they do show up, I think rather than running away from them and trying to avoid it, like, see what it's actually trying to say to you. Listen and just try to figure out, well, what is going on? What is the message? What is something that I need to hear or recognize, pay attention to, that might make a difference? And so that's basically what I did, and I'm excited about it. And it allowed me to say, okay, even though I felt like the week was a spiraling week, I could still find gratitude. I could still find a way to bring joy, beauty, things are that make me feel good. I still found a way to bring those things into my space and help me feel the way I want to feel, because you can't control all the things. We can control how we respond. We can control our atmosphere, what we want our atmosphere to be like. Sometimes those things will come, those days or those weeks will come where you feel like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then you have to kind of adjust and make some changes and reschedule things. And listen, I had an appointment today. I was supposed to go to a dental appointment today. Yesterday, I decided that I was not going to go to the dental appointment. And I needed to go. It was a very important dental appointment, but I just decided, you know what? It's important, but like I'll survive, like my teeth are not falling out of my mouth. So I'll be okay. So I decided to reschedule the dental appointment. I think, yeah, 2 weeks from today or something like that. Anyway, I rescheduled the dental appointment not knowing that I was gonna have to drop my kids off, like all of them at school today. Our kids are split between 2 schools. So I generally drop off one and my husband drops off the other two. So we split like that. But today I ended up having to bring everybody to school because my husband wasn't feeling well. And I thought to myself, wow, had I not rescheduled that appointment, I really would have been kind of feeling a little bit of anxiety because I would have been trying to manage getting the kids to school on time, making sure that my husband was taken care of, had what he needed, making sure that I'm getting to my appointment on time. And all of that would have been jammed into like a very small time frame. And I know I probably would have been a little bit of stressed, but I didn't have to go through that because I had already removed that appointment off of my calendar. And so that created space for what needed to be focused on my husband and my children. Not that I'm not important, but that was also taking care of me as well. And so sometimes those days or those weeks will come, and if we just let it come, respond, like don't cave in. We don't let it get the best of us. But when we are listening, paying attention, and just kind of take it one step at a time, that sometimes it's because God is trying to help you make room for something. And I believe that helped me make room for something that would have been too tight of a squeeze. Not that it could not have gotten done, but it would have been a tight squeeze. And I think it would have just applied more pressure to what I was already trying to relieve myself of. So sometimes those days and those weeks come to help you slow down, to pause, to recalibrate, to reschedule, to reorient, because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, or whatever. You don't know what you're going to need from yourself the very next day. So it's like we have to be grateful because God, He knows how to work those things out. I'm so grateful for that, that I'm like, wow, thank you, Lord, that I was kind of stressing, but all of that got me to the place where, like, you know what? I need to move some of this stuff away. Oh, and now I can get all of my kids to school on time. Nobody was late, thank God. And be able to take care of my husband, get back home and do all the things. So there's always something good that we can find, even in the midst of a spiraling week. But if you do ever have those weeks, I want you to know it's okay. Just readjust, readapt. I go through it as well. You're not alone. I just wanted to share with you how capacity and alignment and being able to, how that can look and feel, walking that out in real life, because it's not something where it's just a guaranteed awesome day. Some days you're going to be like, what is going on? We have those days, but it's okay. We're human beings, and with God's help we can get through it all. So I hope that me sharing some of this helped you all today and gave you something to think about as well. Maybe you've been there. I would really like to know, if you've had those kind of weeks, what have you done, or what do you do that helps you kind of get back to baseline and reorient or normalize things so that you can get back in your rhythm and move forward, the way that you had planned. So if you have some things you would like to share in the comments, please let me know. I would love to know what it is that you do. We all are learning here. It's definitely a journey that we're on. So let me know. Share in the comments. I would like to hear how you process and go through that as well. All right. You all take care. Have a wonderfully blessed day. And remember to live full and live faithful.